This series was made about like a decade ago and has seen a new resurgence on TikTok with videos gaining millions of views. And I really want to talk about this series because it gives me this sense of nostalgia towards kind of older convention and anime spaces. Two Kawaii for Comfort is basically about this group of friends that are on their way to a convention. An incident happens and you learn more about who they are as people and about their mental health struggles. So good, I'm telling you now. I remember when I was younger, me and my friend used to call each other senpai or use Japanese honorifics not correctly. Don't worry, we do not do that anymore. Anime fans used to be much cringier, I'd say. This series reminds me so much of the era of yaoi paddles and glomping, and it is for the best that we leave our past in the past. I really love this series, and I want to give my general perspective on the Two Kawaii for Comfort characters and plotline and give my own opinions on it, especially with the upcoming finale. When were you guys gonna tell me that the finale is coming out? Oh my god, it's gonna be like an animation project. Oh my god. Really nice to see a YouTube series where the characters are more complex and have more details to themselves other than being a stereotype. I feel as though each character suits a specific stereotype of what kind of fan they are, and yet they go beyond that, because stereotypes are often exaggerated. They summarize someone's personhood all towards specific criteria, and they don't really go beyond that about why someone might end up that way. In this show, we have the mom friend, we have the quiet one, we have the autistic one, the unstable one, and the Magic the Gathering player. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to give you a deep dive that includes spoilers in certain sections, but I will give you the time so you know where to skip. I want to start out talking about Spencer, because I feel like personally I find him to be the most boring out of the characters. He always does the morally correct decision, socially acceptable, morally correct decision. He does the thing that you'd expect him to. That is the expected kindness.
What part of severe brain trauma is deja vu?
You know how there's some animes where they just have this boring average dude as the main character so you can insert yourself into that person's shoes more easily? He pretty much fits that criteria, because I feel like anyone could see themselves being Spencer. He always shows up for his friends during their bad times, during their good times. He is always listening. He's always open to hearing other people's interests.
Drew a manga picture of us to commemorate it.
Oh man, that is serious skill. Obata-tan himself would be so jealous.
Brubeck sounds kind of like the name of a demon lord.
Brubeck.
Brubeck.
But one thing that's a key aspect about him that is not necessarily boring or average is the fact that he's very withdrawn. He's very quiet. He's very distant. I definitely feel like he has been stunted socially. Maybe he keeps his cards close about his feelings because he's afraid of getting hurt. Or maybe he just doesn't know how to open up to other people. Because often enough, emotional intelligence or vulnerability is something that you learn. It's not something that's just natural to everyone. This section is going to be a bit spoilery for Spencer, so skip to that number. One thing that happens in the series, if you have not watched it, is the fact that there is an accident. One of the characters named Mari ends up in an accident and ends up going to the hospital. The person who stayed the longest is Spencer. Even though a lot of the other characters are like grieving, I feel like grieving might be the best word. They're grieving someone who's still alive, which is something that can happen when someone becomes severely hospitalized. But Spencer is the one we follow more related to the grief part. Because every other character is grieving, but we more focus on Spencer. The world is losing color. A lot of the things he usually would enjoy doing, it doesn't feel as special. Because even though he stayed for the hospital the longest, he does eventually go to the convention because of plot reasons. And when he gets there, he eventually bumps into one of his favorite comic artists.
Wait, could you keep talking to me, please? I really gotta get going, man. My friend was just in a car crash, and I don't know what to do. And talking to you feels like it would be the only thing that would help.
Go on a little excursion to have coffee. When he opens up, he basically says that going to conventions don't really feel fun anymore. But it's probably because of the fact that he's going through grief. Maybe it's because they're all just transitioning into adulthood, and through that process, a lot of the things that you want to do feel like they end up going on the back burner. And that's one of the conversations they really have, is about growing up.
It's growing up. And it sucks. We all gotta do it. Remember Spider-Man? Great power comes great responsibility. Adulthood's kind of like that. Except without the power.
The concept of growing up is a huge theme when it comes to this show. I mean, one thing that is blaringly obvious about each character is the fact that they are all stunted in some way. Maybe socially or developmentally kind of stunted in their life. A lot of them are majorly around like their 20s, but I think Mari might be the oldest of the bunch. And yet, one thing that they all have in common is the fact that they all very outcasted, or they're all not necessarily at the point of what you would expect a functioning adult to be at. Out of all of the characters, I feel like the one who is coming most to terms with adulthood is Spencer. He was one of the only characters to truly take responsibility. He took responsibility by staying by Mari's side. He took responsibility by trying to help Rita. Mari just so happens to be the next character we're talking about. Mari is the one we know the least about. She is the type of person who I would classify as the mother of the group. Constantly staying positive, constantly trying to be like the mediator and keep the group together.
Is it in the air? Here's to 3 days of anime, manga, friendship, and most importantly, Japan! Japan!
But this is why I also feel like Mari might just be the loneliest out of the bunch. I genuinely believe that Mari is considered to be the most loneliest out of all the characters due to the fact of her deep desire for connection. She is the one trying to keep everyone together because she doesn't want to lose anyone in her life. She wants to keep everyone happy so then they don't leave her. And I have more reasons to come up with this spoilerly section, so skip to this time. When she ends up getting hospitalized from the car accident that happens in this show, she ends up waking up and there's nobody there. There wasn't even any family, no emergency contacts. Next up, which I believe to be the second oldest character, Randy, he is like a classic dude in his mom's basement. He seems to have something that we like to call failure to launch syndrome, where when he inevitably got old enough to be considered an adult, had a failure to transition into adulthood. Randy definitely craves companionship, but also struggles a lot socially in the way that he interacts with people even as friends, but also the way that he interacts with people that he's interested in a way that comes off as very creepy, but also could be the way that he views women too, which I will explain better in my segment of spoiler, so skip to this time if you want to. For the large majority of the show, he didn't seem to be very interested in women, particularly with his female friends.
God, I hate her so much. I hate her so much. Oh, God.
Ohio!
gaming the whole time, not really interacting with his other friends. He thinks that he is like this great player who's gonna win the championship. But when he inevitably doesn't, because he just doesn't have the skills for it, the person that beats him is this woman who he finds attractive, who is just much better at him at the game. When he met that woman at the gaming competition, she needed to be better at him at gaming and relatively attractive for him to take that interest in her.
Made the best way I would.
Face me.
Bring it on!
Bebe versus Daria. Round 1. Fight! Bebe wins.
And stay down.
Double flawless victory.
JJ.
She needed to be better than him for her to be considered equal to him, to even want to pursue her to begin with. His failure to be able to approach her in a way that is respectable, and the fact that he doesn't back down or understand that she is uncomfortable around him, shows how blaringly obvious it is that he doesn't know how to interact with women at all. Next up is definitely my favorite character, Rita, or Magical Justice Savior Rita-chan, and I love her.
Ohio! Konnichiwa, Rita-chan! For the last time, Mari, I told you, you have to call me Magical Justice Savior Rita-chan.
Sumimasen, Rita-kun.
Magical Justice Savior Rita-chan, the Holy Maiden of Justice who's gonna win the masquerade this year with a super funny skit at Kodokan.
Even though she is considered to be the main character and the character you're kind of supposed to hate, I really love her and I am obsessed with the complexity of her character. I feel like the large majority of viewers would consider her a bad person because she's constantly blowing up her friends, constantly degrading those who are close to her, and she acts in a way that is erratic or in a way that is impulsive, and it is definitely revealed later to be due to mental health issues if it wasn't already blaringly obvious by the way that she acts. I do think that many people are jumping between the label of bipolar or BPD, which is borderline personality disorder, and I really want to give my own perspective on it because I just so happen to be studying psychology in university. I am not claiming to be super smart or anything. I'm not finished my degree yet, but I do want to say that I feel like I have a bit more education when it comes to this background, so I feel like I have a lot of things that I could say about it. However, this section is also gonna probably need to be skippable because there's a small little detail that is kind of spoilerly plot related, so please skip here if you want to. I feel like the story wants you to believe that her mental health issues could go any way, really, considering the fact that when the character Spencer ends up finding out that Rita didn't take her medication or left it behind and threw it out, he immediately went to rush to her side. It said antipsychotics on it, but no other details.
Why does it hurt so fucking much?
Why is everything always so horrible?
I feel that the creators didn't have any specific mental health issue in mind. Rita is impulsive, and she does have those major depressive episodes. But what we do not see is her mania, really. Because she does have, like, her happy moments, but I do not know whether or not it would be classified as mania, since it doesn't really completely fit the definition, but we've only seen like a small amount of what is going on with her. Like, it could still apply to being bipolar, because a huge part of bipolar is having those deep depressive episodes and then those points of mania. Mania is kind of like extreme happiness, but to the point that it's actually harmful, where you make these impulsive decisions and you feel like extremely happy, but you also kind of feel a sense of superiority. Some people feel like maybe something comparable to like a god complex, where they feel like they have the capabilities of doing something even though they've never had experience for it. You could apply this to the situation where Rita wants to do this skit and she thinks that she could do it all by herself. But the reason why I do not feel like this could apply to Mania is because she's more angry in those scenes than necessarily manic. And I know that she does have this super happiness bubble when she meets this other side character that she falls in love with. I don't necessarily think it's mania. It could go that way if you really think so. To be fair, I've not finished my degree, but I feel like it aligns a lot more with borderline, and I'm going to tell you why. Magical Jester Savior Rita-chan is horrible to her friends. But the thing is, would you really be friends with someone who is horrible to you? My genuine opinion is that she might have had these moments where she really cared about her friends. But one part about being borderline is the fact that you put people on a pedestal, but you also put them off that pedestal really easily. This can be explained by splitting. It is when you eventually split on someone, and so you can feel like a lot of love for someone, but then something triggering happens that ends up causing you to feel the complete opposite for someone, like angry and distant in a moment where you were just feeling like happy. A major difference between bipolar and borderline is that bipolar has mania and borderline is a lot more situation based where they have triggers. Also, fun fact, people with BPD, sometimes case-to-case basis, end up getting treated with antipsychotics. I hope that this kind of enlightens you on the type of person that Rita is. You can understand why her behavior might be the way that it was. And I feel like when Spencer found her medication in the trash, he might have realized this himself. Like I said, why would you be friends with someone if they were horrible to you? Like, Spencer must have saw the medication and put two and two together. Like, there's no way that they would have been friends, like, out of nowhere. Pretty sure that Rita was more considered Mari's friend, and a lot of the other people didn't really care about her or didn't like her. Last, we have Toki. I feel like there's literally no way that she is not autistic or some form of neurodivergent. Not only does like every autistic person relate to them, but they follow a lot of the characteristics that and criteria that would get you a autistic diagnosis. Toki treats drawing kind of like her special interest. She literally can't go like 5 seconds without drawing. She is drawing all the time. A lot of autistic people are considered to have like these extreme interests. So her interest for drawing would be considered like extreme. You don't have to have a special interest to get a diagnosis for autism, but it sure helps. They are also not only like very socially awkward, but struggle to find the right words to express what they say. The friends around Toki can handle their issues with socializing because of the fact that they're all socially stunted themselves. But when Toki is put in more public spaces, it becomes noticeable that there is this sense of like difference or like otherness or exclusion. There is definitely a deficit in the way that they handle social situations, the way they communicate. To be fair, this is only what we know from like, I think there's only like 6 episodes for this series. An autism diagnosis takes a long time for someone to get. Toki is the type of person to avoid eye contact or struggles to keep eye contact. This next section, spoilerly, again, I'm sorry. Toki, she's the one who ends up getting on a dating show. She's the one who ends up meeting this guy who is very much more unstable than them. After Toki goes on this dating show and meets this guy who kind of got a few screws loose, it definitely shows the dark side of fandom spaces because in every space there is going to be those people who are problematic. After the dating show, they go to like this cafe or like eating area, and he completely goes ballistic on the service worker. Dude, they're getting paid minimum wage, and if this is the United States, I know that the minimum wage over there is super extremely low. Bro, what the hell are you doing? Stop it. Especially knowing that there is this whole tipping culture over there where for the most part they pay you less than minimum, expecting that your tips will make up for that, which is insane, by the way. Toki is uncomfortably entire time and knows that this guy isn't necessarily the best person, but still gives him a chance because of his interest in her drawings and the fact they have their interests kind of cross over a lot. Like, this guy, he definitely has, like, I don't know, anger issues or something. Like, there's nothing wrong with people who get angry, but he doesn't just get angry. He is, like, kind of like violent. Because Toki is desperate for companionship and she is grieving the situation with her friend in the hospital, she ends up going with him to his hotel room. Never do this! Never do this! In modern conventions, this is still applicable. Why would you go to some guy's hotel room? Because you don't know what could happen. You could get trafficked, someone could take advantage of you, someone can... It is so dangerous. Toki definitely is still super naive. Definitely doesn't know how to navigate a lot of social situations. I love how all these characters have very separate storylines going on and you get a peek into each individual situation, and they're all either at the age of adulthood and struggling to be adults, or they're transitioning into adulthood and learning what that means to be an adult. If you like my character analysis, and if you like what I've said so far about the show, I definitely recommend watching it. It is so good. It is free on YouTube. The entire series is free, or on the webpage of the Too Quiet for Comfort webpage. And I cannot wait for the animation to come out. I am a tree. Hi, weebs and weirdos. Hope you have a good rest of your night or whatever time of day it is for you. And I suck at outros. Check out my other videos. Hope you like this one.